Why are you both here today?
I'm here to, first, coming from the States, when I saw the post about people rallying, for Trayvon Martin, who is a resident in the States, that interests me. I'm like, wow, solidarity across the Atlantic Ocean. I wanted to see why everybody else was here, because I know personally, being in the States, that affected me tremendously, the fact that a young male could be shot and killed, and the person that pursued him was told not to pursue him. And when the person kills him, he's found not guilty. That was hard hearing that, here in the UK. It's like I have to go back to this, country in which I regard as my home country, and people like me are not even valued. Lives like mine are not even valued. So I wanted to see if anyone else here had those type of similar sentiments about why this case in particular, and I mean not only this case, but a lot of cases like this, what does it mean to them? So that's what I was here pretty much to find out, because I was provoked.
There have been some, in Britain there have been killings of usually young black men. There was Mark Duggan, who was shot by the police that started the riots in 2011. There was Stephen Lawrence, who had famously had a massive campaign built around trying to get justice for him, but that was like 20 years coming. So these kind of issues, do you think these issues are more common than people perhaps like to think they are?
Yeah, and I think they're more common than not, and I think that these kind of events are important because they raise awareness and they present the full story, because the media will give you bits and pieces of these things, and that's why they're not often forgot about. Because something I was mentioning in the States is like, everybody's upset about Trayvon Martin, but what about the numerous killings that happen in Chicago every day? Well, you know what? Not everybody are informed about them because they don't get national attention, and the only reason why this case got national attention because this man went free for 45 days without even being summoned to court for shooting a guy, so they have to keep, raising awareness about it, and that's the important thing, raising awareness. And I think it's more common than uncommon, and the reason why it might appear to be uncommon is because the media suppresses, anytime that the state is portrayed as bad and protecting and serving their own interests instead of the interests of their own citizens, what they're supposed to do, the media doesn't want to broadcast that. So that's why it appears to be more uncommon, but it's common.
So there's been a rally today, you're both involved in it. You're based in Britain, Season. So what's your experience as an black American but based in Britain, seeing these kind of events going on over there?
I think that I don't know if it makes it kind of harder to take in a way. While British society is by no means perfect or free of racism or racial or ethnic tension, it does seem to me that it doesn't seem quite as deeply steeped in a sort of created and enforced, sort of really inhumane kind of racism like what you get in the States. And having some distance from it has really allowed me to think about it in a way in which I think that when you're there, you kind of take it for granted that you're going to be treated in certain ways, in certain spaces. And then, kind of stepping away from that and living for over a decade outside of that, then I started to think about, wait, why do I assume that? Or, why is it that every time I walk into a shop, I take my hands out of my pockets? Where did that come from? And so living abroad has given me a bit of perspective, I think.
Yeah, and also disappointing because a lot of us in the States, we had so much hope because there's this post-race rhetoric that is going on in the United States. The fact that, you have a African-American president, his father's from Africa, he's literally African-American, and being that he is in the Oval House, racism is done away. Even white people voted him in the White House, so racism is done away. So we have this glimmer of hope, but at the same time, what has been suppressed in the media, like I talked about earlier, while Barack Obama is in the Oval House, Oscar Grant, a black male, is getting killed by the police. It was actually recorded, and these police got acquitted as well. Sean Bell, another African-American man, is getting killed, was getting ready to get married a day later, got shot 50 times by police, and they got acquitted. Henry Louis Skipgate Jr., a esteemed, prestigious professor that actually is friends with Barack Obama, gets arrested for breaking into his own home even after he showed ID. So a lot of us are not surprised, but we still had, as Barack Obama would say, the audacity to hope that justice will be served. Since we've been raising awareness as to why this crime is wrong. Why is it okay for this man to get acquitted when, for pursuing this young black male and get killed, while this woman that just fires a warning shot for a person that's abusing her, the warning to pretty much get away from me or I'll shoot you. Why does she get 20 years in prison? A mother. And this man that pursues a black young male against the police orders, why does he get off? So that's why it makes me slow to want to go back to a home I regard as my, it's the double consciousness I feel. It's the African American being an American and African at the same time. It's the double consciousness that we always are plagued with.
Yeah, I mean it's that thing of I only have one country and it isn't mine.
Right.
But I wanted to pick up on something that you're saying. Somebody being not just killed but riddled with 50 bullets. And how many was it with Amadou Diallo? 80? I mean, what I want to know is why are Americans so afraid? I mean, I feel like that's the thing, and that's the difference. Is people in the States. I mean, the American personality and persona has a lot of vibrato and toughness is part of the kind of American national identity. And I think that really what's under that is fear and anxiety and the way we're really bred to fear our neighbors. There might be this kind of Christian and pseudo-Christian thing of love thy neighbor or whatever. But I mean, put Barack Obama in a hoodie and would you, how many of the people who voted for him would sit next to him on a bus? It's fine to look up at the top, but what's going on at the top never indicates what's going on down below, is the thing. I mean, Thatcher, Julia Gillard, do we have, no misogyny in the UK or in Australia? No way. I mean, and in a way, it's a way for people not to check their privilege and not to confront the racism that they've taken in that exists all around us in the States, because they go, oh, I'm not racist, I voted for Barack Obama. But actually, if 20-year-old Barry Obama came up to you, would you give him a job? Or if you gave him a job, would you constantly be checking to see if he's got his hand in the cash register?
And the hard thing with that is those of us, particularly of color, that have voted for him, we really believe what he said about bringing about a change to America. But when you put Trayvon Martin case in its historical context, you'll realize that that's reminiscent of the Emmett Till case.
Emmett Till, absolutely.
Where a black male was killed, justice was not served. The many lynchings of black males that happened in America, and even black women that happened, and justice was not served. So I think that this case is deeper for the state. It's almost like the state saying to us, you guys still don't matter. And you guys meaning the other. You guys that are, if I could use the rhetoric in the UK, flooding our country, immigration coming in, right? You guys still don't matter. So it's just amazing because we had hope, we thought something was going to change, and as you put it in this historical context, nothing has changed, unfortunately. In the post-race society, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that it's important not to use that term prematurely, and that hope is only worth anything when it's backed with action. And I loved what you were saying at the rally, sort of, okay, so we don't have justice, and so why the peace, so I think that hope has to be the thing that fuels your action. It can't just be this ivy tower that you just sort of recline in, because that just gives permission for the same things to keep happening. I mean, we can't just, sort of declare a post-racial world and expect to wake up that way.
Declare a post-race world so that we can get people to not talk about racism, to not deal with it, and that's the hard part about it, because we don't deal with it.
And that's how the undermining is constantly happening there. It's just sort of like, oh, will you just shut up already? You're clearly not being discriminated against because,
And the states say slavery's over. Get over it.
Yeah, and they really should look at prison farms and prison plantations and prison factories where people are being paid 12 cents an hour to pick cotton under the blazing sun with a white guard mounted on horseback with an assault rifle, nothing has changed except who the master is. And the master is now corporations. So
yeah, that's why I think the power of this, just organizing this rally, is that like people can come together, and I really think that's what puts fear in the state. And like I said, I studied the British Black Panther Party, and it was this famous case called the Mangrove Nine. And what put fear in the police the most is the fact that it was so much interracial solidarity. It wasn't just a black issue. It wasn't just a white issue. It wasn't just a working class issue. But it was an all of us issue, all of us citizens. So I think that's the power of this. That's why when we ask people to come up and say, what does it mean to you that this happened? How does the Trayvon Martin case resonate in your life? What does that say to you? Because I think it speaks to us in a different way, in a personal type of way. So I think that that's the power of having this event happen. I'm glad that it was put on. So.